Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to the letter. Let's continue. Also journal quickly, let's see what happened in the last episode. After that close call, Ashton spent the night at Isabella's, only to be kept awake by nightmares. At an utter loss, and with all of his beliefs overturned, Ashton decided to check on Zahar and Rebecca. Unfortunately, only Zahar returned his calls. And so on. This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's doing on the stove, while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it has become a common sight after the three of them, including Zah and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them would invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way, healthier, she claims. Zah's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. And Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there is food, she's happy. Me, I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. You probably know about it. If not, well, it was mentioned before. Easier times, good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy. A strange fit with all of the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up on her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow. My way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her. If the timing for a joke is enough, for doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to. Yet. Until Zach gets here or until I've received an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in a subtle crease between her eyebrows, and the ink was to gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is for, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know.
Yep.
Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me. And just like that, I'm being kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drop back to her tiny living space and slam down on the couch. Close my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I built around them so I won't have to think. One by one, they circled back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proves there might be more copies of the dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Damn it, I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca. Zach. Isabella.
They're all depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running ragged inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I've bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I fainted or something. The crease from her eyebrows grow deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment she seems to accept that. Quietly she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then, the next thing I know, she's gently pushing both my hands. The scent reaches me first, before I've gotten the chance to take in what she just handed me. A faint sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting. Despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you will eat on a rainy day. For from the get-go, it does look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it? And milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is, handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she has already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if she has done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening. As a background noise, the voices from it seems too cheerful, a welcome distraction, if anything. It's only after she has finished off half of the bowl that she acknowledges the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she crosses the dish on her lap and looks down a bit. Briefly, her lips part, then closes a station for I don't push her. There is a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's in a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mom would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proverred not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca's both of them. Who knows when the ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams, we are not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at the present, we have a chance and respite, maybe the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us, quietly just sitting side by side like this, without exchanging any words. The intent hands unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella never pushes it, rather she lets her own silence convey her hope. Alright, this is an easy choice, take her offer.
Thank you.
Why are you blushing? That's her point? What? The words roll off my tongue. Awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips we've shared. Yet, she accepts this with a smile and nothing more. Regardless of everything left unsaid, the sight of it brings comfort. More so than any generous offer of food can give. Though both love silence after, as we finish our food, there is ease in it. In the muffled sounds of Luxburn filtering into the room. In light streaming from her windows, and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tenderness of her hair. In the way her voice falters when she tries to form words. And despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, 40 seconds to last. But ultimately, she is the one who breaks it softly after a minute's pause, in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news. What if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day, he'll eventually...
She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from Lux U.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open. Right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide. She snatched it away from where I placed it back earlier. Except there is no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too...
I fell off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Jane, as they are, a part of me believes they are a burden too heavy to impose upon her. Because no matter how much I want her to say we are not what ties her here, it would be selfish to ask her that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I said, nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine most of all.
You have us.
The words startled her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide with disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology to my betrothed, her expression dissolves into something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago, that day at the bridge. What are you talking about right now? However, I don't get a chance to figure out what it all means for her. Of a sudden, a knock breaks the wind, and just as fast, both our attention shifts towards the source. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process.
I'll get that. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse! I let that frustration aside once I fling the door open. A hollow chunk of the stone that can smack at the pit of my stomach simultaneously unseats itself. There in the hallway stands Zach, his hand raised ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable in the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washed over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. The second his feet cross the threshold, he scans the place, eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look, one that has a hint of panic in it.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet. But Isabella's...
I'm here, Zach. Morning.
His weight shifts at the same time. The stiff line in his shoulder eases once Isabella walks up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then, returns her greeting in kind. As soon as he let out the brief he has been holding and the tensions finally off his body.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for then?
Because technically something is wrong. My explanation can wait, he has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Anselm alone, for some godforsaken reason, warrants a proper one. Ghost or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end. This might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah, right? Somehow they've become friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here in one piece. By some damn luck, he's alright, and this takes off one of the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in the exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. So, you promised you won't do anything stupid. Oh, or you're okay! I mean, god damn it, I ran out of saving spaces. Guess I have to go back here. I think this one, right? Except when I'm out, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Oh. Oh! Alright, if this leads to anything, I bet some girls would scream right now with passion, excitement, and so on. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zach's neat little pal. We've had so many close calls within just a single night. Zach showing up in Isabella's doorstep alive, whole and unharmed. I might as well take comfort in that while I still can.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Suddenly the whole room feels too heavy and all I'm able to do is drop down the couch. Headaches also threatens to burst in the same moment. Or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like. Regardless, I reach up, hand to pinch the bridge of my nose, even if it will likely do nothing to alleviate the impending pain.
Christ, you were right there! We have this stupid curse thing going on, and you were right there! You just walked up inside a private property! Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are. I've got to do something. I know you're not very fond of the rights, but they don't deserve it if something bad happens.
Well, technically, I have to agree. But on the other hand, you never know if they are influencing it in some way, right? Maybe. I mean, maybe not Hannah. But we still don't know about the whiskey.
Hannah most of all.
God damn it, Zach, I was worried!
Unexpectedly, he laughs, not the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one. Before my task grows again and I snap at him, for he suddenly catches me in a headlock. His arms looping around my neck while he grinds his knuckles against my scalp. Helpless, I squirm under his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're up against a 6-footer.
Zach!
No, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
Let go!
He relents, soon enough, for only after he's done ample damage in my hair, I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up and everything felt like how it used to be before this whole mess began. Makes appreciating little moments like this easier, still.
Seriously, Zach, why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry, I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me into silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go there, here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Partly it's my fault for giving things vague. I can't berate him for assuming that, when I've only left him with vague answers.
You could have called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any and my phone was with me.
You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Again to the tension-riddled one plugging us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head, then gradually he shifts his attention to Isabella. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation, like my word can be trusted, not that I'm holding it against him. I can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth these past few hours. Meanwhile, Isabella stays quiet. Has been like that for quite some time. She looks like she wants to disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear all flashes fleeting across her face before it melts away under an expression of worry.
Please tell me he's joking. You were there?
No, we really didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zach, at BRC, Ashton and I saw...
She never gets to finish that. Abruptly, my phone rings again, blaring its badly sung ringtone throughout the whole room. Both of them pauses, waiting when I pull it up to check the caller ID.
It's Becca. I'll tell her to get here as soon as she can. Excuse me.
Without another word, I slip out the room and ask for the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Are you there?
Racked a bit out of breath, there is a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step back into Isabella's apartment. I hold out the phone towards the two, giving it two shakes, urging them to speak. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. Please shoot, he's dead.
Rebecca's asking for you two.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca!
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we having, eh?
Hey, you two. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for. Yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here, and the second she steps in the room, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay. Ashton checked on you this morning, but... He did? I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burned to Chris or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole alive, although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure of my shoulders, if only by some. But the moment Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction. The younger woman doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for a careful observation nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Hair in a bit of mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirty places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she gets, noticeable once Isabella leads her into the room. It all sprouts a heart full of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. I grab her arm before she can walk past, carefully avoid hurting her, in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her and Isabella to a halt. Both of them turn to me almost at the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Rebecca, for her part, doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it to light. Are you right, or police tell me you didn't do something dangerous? Are you alright?
You okay? You're limping.
As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back if Zach hadn't caught her by the elbow. Even with two more people shooting her, closer looks she's swift to shrug off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Yeah, little. Little accident, hard to believe when her older arm nursing the supposedly fine arm. Isabel doesn't buy any of it either.
In a library?
Yeah, in a library. Come on, no one believes that. Besides, we know what's going on, okay? So, listen, Rebecca, you better tell us the truth. I mean, I know the truth, they don't, so tell them the actual truth. We need the truth. There is no other option here. I'm waiting!
Well, yeah, it kinda caught me off guard.
What? Dust? Falling on your arm?
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly she goes very still, and the hand placed on her over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Where she cast a glance at everyone in the room. But only the one she spares for Isabella lingers longer, and in that moment something unspoken passes between them. Understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then after a minute of consideration she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve. There is just enough for Isabel to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin is starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
But she's there? She went after you. Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Well, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Actually, about that!
Laugh it up, Ashton, I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Dead. Another close call, another one would have, another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? You're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found it later. I've expected her to have caved in by now. Yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
That marks the end of it. At least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands Rebecca the cold compress, she promised we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room. Although, relationship plus. So everyone is on good terms, right? Honestly, I'm still waiting for the moment that Marianne actually, hopefully, I really truly believe it will happen, calls Ashton. Because she has the number. Hopefully it will happen. Although there is some tense fumbling for words at first. The whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night. The BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed, have been laid out for close scrutiny. Saxon understood the woman and his dreams. Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears. The dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned! Or at least that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. I mean, I would like to believe that as well. Why would I not want to believe that, right? Anywho, let's end the episode. I'm gonna go to sleep. Hopefully no nightmares. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.